Today we're going over a pretty quick theory. It's one of the theories that I came up with after watching Change Your Mind, or The Battle of Heart and Mind, as Cartoon Network calls it, the special. And we're going to skip the pleasantries here and jump right into this one. As they tend to do, Cartoon Network released a bingo card for this special. If you guys don't know what these are, every time a Steven Universe special comes out, or at least every time recently, I don't know how far back they've been doing it, Cartoon Network will release a bingo card to go along with it, with a whole bunch of stuff that may happen in the special written in the different spaces. And there is inevitably going to be bingo somewhere on the card, so it gives fans a fun way of guessing which events might take place in the special and speculate. But because the stuff written in those spaces is so vague, it doesn't really spoil anything. It just gives people something to look forward to. It's a lot of fun. And of course, they released one for Battle of Heart and Mind as well. And what's crazy about it is that this bingo card had more correct spaces on it than any bingo card that they've released up to this point. In fact, it really seems as if the intention was for every single space on this bingo card to be filled by the time the special was over. So what we're going to do to start out this theory video is go over each of these and see if that's actually true. Just let me project a screen right up next to you guys so you can see this at full size. Alright, that should do it. It's a giant mecha battle. That's a big old check. Pink Diamond flashback. That happened in the very start of the episode, so that's a check. White Diamond powers. Creepy check. Pebbles, of course, that's a check as well. Jasper returns. It may have happened in the last few minutes, but definitely a check. Diamond fight, well, that was in the trailer, so that's definitely a check. If every pork chop were perfect.
If every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs.
That's a check as well. Steven takes a bubble bath. I see what you did there. That one's also a check, of course. Connie versus Pearl, brief, but a check. Steven and Garnet fuse, that's a check as well. Lars meets Lion, check. Steven and Pearl fuse, that's also a check. New song as the free space, so I guess we can assume that one's a check as well. Blue Diamond cries. I mean, she cries every time we see her, so that's not a surprise, but that one's a check. A giant woman. Well, we knew the diamonds were going to be in this, so even without the likes of, let's say, Obsidian, this one's a check anyway. Someone breaks out of jail, check. Bunga Kawa.
Bunga Kawa!
That one's definitely a check. An out-of-body experience. Also a check, both figuratively and literally. Alien creature, check. Someone breaks the fourth wall.
Don't try this at home.
That one's a big old check-rooney. Peridot, savior of Homeworld. I think we can safely say that one's a check. Yellow Diamond cries. A bit more rare, but of course happened in this special. Someone gets a new look. Several someones, in fact. Steven and Amethyst fuse. Not as surprising as the other 3 out-of-nowhere fusions in this episode, but still definitely a check. So let's take a look at the whole thing together now at this point. That's interesting. I say feigning confusion, even though I already knew how this was going to turn out. It looks like there's one space that isn't checked off, or at the very least, I don't see any obvious reason to check it off yet. And that is, Steven uses a new power. So working off the assumption that it was the intention for every space on this bingo card to be filled up by this special, where did this one come in? Where exactly did Steven use a new power? I mean, there's a couple places where you could argue that he did. I guess even fusing into a new fusion could technically be considered a new power, but it really isn't. It's just another instance of him using a power that he's already been shown to have. Not even really an extension of one of his other powers, which I think in this case might also qualify. I would go so far as to argue that since the same function of a gem allows it to shapeshift as allows it to form a holographic body, that even when his gem was removed and formed Pink Steven, that was still just another example of him using a power that he's already been shown to have. When Pink Steven broke the ground, that's just basic energy projection. All gems seem to have some kind of basic energy projection ability, and the show is, at this point, well beyond treating some display of general gem abilities as something noteworthy in Steven. And the shield that he creates, that is sort of like his bubble but is as impenetrable as his regular weapon shield, is just an amalgam of those two abilities. It's not something new. Human Steven and Pink Steven reuniting was just fusion, so where did Steven use a new power in this episode? Where does this space come in? Obviously, I'm going to be talking about White Diamond a lot in upcoming videos, but I do need to talk about her a little bit in order to solve this mystery. And honestly, it's pretty simple when you get right down to it. The episode almost frames this moment here as if Steven delivers so sick a burn upon White Diamond that it causes her to become embarrassed, and becoming embarrassed, she starts to display a different color other than white. showing herself to be flawed to herself, and therefore helping her to come around to the fact that maybe flaws in gems aren't that bad. But we know for a fact that that can't be it. That can't be all of it. Because when blue and yellow diamond see white diamond exhibiting a color other than white, they're confused, to the point that they actually jump to the conclusion that she must be off color, even though that's not really what off color is meant up to this point. But if we assume that they just went to that place because they were so shocked to see this, that paints an interesting picture, because we know for a fact that this isn't the first time that White Diamond has shown emotion in front of them.
White, we used to be close. Don't you remember? When Pink would make us laugh. All those silly things she did for no reason. There was a reason. She wanted us to be happy together.
This isn't even the first time that White Diamond has shown emotion today. She's been confused and angry and even arrogant. Even arrogance could be considered an emotion. So unless we're supposed to assume that only embarrassment and literally nothing else causes her to change colors, changing color because she felt an emotion is not usual for White Diamond. That's not something that normally happens. And since I see no reason to make that assumption that only embarrassment causes her to change color, I'm making the assumption that feeling emotion usually doesn't cause White Diamond to change colors. And I'm sure you can see where I'm going with at this point. I think that the new power that Steven showed here was some extension of his empathic ability, his literal ability to empathize psychically with people. I think he has uncovered the power to turn that back around, and rather than take something of someone else into himself so that he can understand them better, he has learned to put something of himself into others so that they can understand him better. Like, I want to see this in action again, if it really is a power, that is, before I make any concrete judgments on how exactly this ability works, but I do think that this was a new power displayed by Steven here. It's really the only thing that makes sense given the context of that scene, specifically, again, blue and yellow's reaction to white displaying a color other than white. And what I think is particularly great about this idea is that not only does it make white's turnaround a lot more plausible, but it also shows off sort of a more healthy version of what White herself was doing in this episode. White's powers are very clearly framed to be mental abuse made tangible in the form of her eye beams. Just as Blue Diamond's emotional projection power is emotional abuse made tangible, and Yellow's lightning fingers are physical abuse, White has the literal power to change someone's mind by force by imposing herself upon them. And so it makes sense, doesn't it, that Steven would change her mind by not forcing her to change her mind, but by showing off that he has the literal ability to open up someone's mind to his point of view so that they can make the change on their own. Isn't that just the kind of poetic thing that the crew working on this show would do? And Steven having this more benign version of White Diamond's ability, one which also, in the other direction, works as the empathy power that we've seen him use multiple times now, creates more of a parallel between Pink Diamond and White Diamond, which does fit within the themes of the show. I don't know, I could be entirely off base here, but I really don't think I am. As per usual, though, I'd like to know what you guys think. Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.